Is that what he got? Yes. I'm depressed by seeing that vomit green backdrop too. Not just you. It's not just you. Okay, it is you, but I'm not happy either to be back here. I shall return. Like, was it MacArthur? Yeah, MacArthur, I think said, I shall return to Chiang Mai. But meanwhile, from Pi, February 24th, in a well-managed business, all promotions are self-made. The employer's only part in the transaction is to check carefully to make sure the promotion was earned. The perfect formula for destroying morale in any organization is to create a working environment that leads employees to believe that the only way to get ahead is by playing politics. That's exactly what I observed in my 13 years in computers. I talked about the other day. The best managed businesses are those in which every promotion is earned and every qualified person has an equal opportunity to compete for it. If you're a manager, weigh all decisions involving your employees on the basis of fairness. And if you aspire to be a manager, choose to work for a company that is fair in its treatment of workers. When you've earned your position through skill and effectiveness, you have the best job security. Okay, so since he keeps talking about corporate America and refuses to talk about us folks, we the people, the entrepreneurs, when I was in IT, I worked for mostly Fortune 500 companies. That was the clients that hired me. And when I was reading that, what instantly popped into my head, because that's what I do here on the Great White Buddha channel, is tell you what pops into my little pea brain. Well, little, no, my giant grape head. Lauren, my ex-wife, who I probably don't talk enough about because she was awesome. She was funny. I got a lot of good Lauren stories. I really should talk more about her on this channel. We were married for 10 years, and she was funny as hell. She cracked me up. It was a good 10 years. It really was. But anyway, she spoke Spanish. She was bilingual. She wasn't Spanish, origin or whatever. She was, a Jewish American princess born in New Jersey, but she spoke Spanish. And so this grape in Spanish is called uva. And it's one of those ones where it's spelled U-V-A, so most Americans would go uva, like Virginia va, but it's pronounced uva. And it's a grape, and she would say, I have a big uva head, like a grape head. Can you see it? I've got an oval, right? I've got an oval head, and it's big. I do have a big head, I'm a large mammal. I've always been a large mammal. I was like, I want to say 5'11" in like 6th grade or 7th grade. So I shot up pretty quick. I went from like 5'3" to 5'11" in like 2 years or something like that. And I was thin back then. When I was 5'11", freshman year in high school, I was 5'11", and I was 116 pounds. Not kilos. Like I'm 119 kilos right now, right? Which is 2.2 pounds to a kilo. But I was 119 pounds in high school. 116 pounds. So if you can imagine the difference between 260 something pounds and 119 on my frame. I was a scrawny little freshman in high school, but then I lifted weights for 2 years, and I put on muscle, and I went up to 150. And in those 2 years, freshman year, sophomore year, I got the extra 2 inches to where I'm at now, 6'1". So 6'1" and 150, lean, mean, fighting machine. By the time I went to the Navy in '84, which was 2 years after high school, I was 170. And I had, at that point, working out, a lot. I was 7.75% body fat. Oh, those were the days. I think I'm like 35% body fat now. So anywho, Lauren, the grape head, where was I going with this? Boy, the mind of an old man just fucking wanders. And no wonder I'm in Thailand. My mind started wandering, and this is where I wound up. instead of the U.S. Oh, so corporate America. Yeah, I just talking about I said I had a small head. Lauren called me grape head, uba head, whatever. Okay, uba. So anyway, getting back to what he wrote today, because this is positive action plan, and you don't care about my ex-wife. When I was programming in IT, I was mostly Fortune 500 companies were the client. So as I was reading that, what came into my, the fuck did I learn to speak English? What came into my head while I was reading it was they would hire guys like me, consultants, 1099s, right? If you're not familiar with that, it means you're not a salaried employee. You don't get a W-2 at the end of the year, you get a 1099. You're an independent contractor, right? And that's what I was. I was an S-Corp. I billed them, for my hours, and I took care of my own benefits and taxes and all that. So why were we necessary? Why were there 1099s? Why were there consultants, right, contractors in every firm I worked for? Obviously, they hired me as a contractor. Why were we necessary? Why was there 10 other, 20 other, 30 other guys like me? Because the employees did as little as possible for as much as possible. The employees had a mindset, I've got a steady job, I've got stability, I know I'm going to have my job. Although I did talk, when I was down in Chiang Mai the other day, I talked about the Christmas. I forgot to mention that. When they laid off the 25 people out of 32, Bank of America, it was Christmas time, it was December. Merry fucking Christmas, you're out of a job. And once again, I mean, employees who had been there over 12 years, 10 years, who thought they had this security that I'm talking about, and they woke up one day to find out they had no fucking job. So I took my savings at that point, because I had been making six figures for a while. I had some money in the bank, and I bought the pizza place. Right? I went full-on entrepreneur, like full-on retard. I went full-on entrepreneur. When I saw being let go from Bank of America as an opportunity instead of as a crisis, I was like, okay, fine, fuck it. I like food. I've been watching Food Network like a food porn junkie for 2-3 years now. Emerald and Fat Mario Batali and Bobby Flay and all those guys. I loved cooking. I loved making good food. I was making my own pizzas, and they were delicious. Yada yada yada. So anyway, think about the people who, like I was just talking about, thought they had job security. Oh, I work for Bank of America. I'm going to work for Bank of America till I retire. No, ma'am. No, sir. Not really. Bank of America had different plans. They could save some money by outsourcing the maintenance of the project we developed to India. And all they care about is money. They don't care about you as an employee. They don't care about you as a customer. It's just a different deal than it was 30, 40 years ago. So those employees, like I said, whose main concern was stability, safety, right? Fear. We talk about fear a lot. Those employees were afraid to go out and become contractors because, oh, what if the contract ends? You get another one. I did that for 13 friggin' years. My normal gig was 3 to 6 months, and I liked it. I liked hopping from place to place to place. It was challenging. It kept my mind stimulated. I wasn't bored. I could never be an employee. That's not who I am. I'm unhappy being an employee and sitting in the same cubicle for 10 years. It just, to me, that's a slow death. So I enjoyed getting a fresh start every 6 months in a different place. And so, I'm sure if I go back over my career, I could, there was a place I stayed for a year, 2 years. I think Merrill Lynch early on was one of the places I stayed pretty long. When I mentioned I was doing Power Builder. I was doing Power Builder and Oracle. I think that was a 2-year thing. And in that time, things converted over to Visual Basic. And I was lucky enough / smart enough to see the technology changing. And I managed to spearhead Merrill Lynch converting over to Visual Basic SQL Server. And so I learned it. I learned it while I was being paid 3 times what employees were making. So whatever, lucky, smart, right place, right time, whatever you want to call it. That set up my next 7 years as a Visual Basic contractor, 1099, in other firms outside, Merrill Lynch, obviously. In fact, I think I might have left them. I usually let the contract, let them let me go. They ran out of money, the job was done, whatever. But I think I might have moved that time, because after I had the VB, I had a hot new skill set and it was marketable. And like I said, I was not cut out to be an employee ever. So even while I was doing the cubicle jungle for 13 years, it was different cubicles in different jungles. I got to see the cubicle jungle world over those 13 years and bopped all over the state of New Jersey into Pennsylvania for a spell. And that kept it fresh. So yeah, we made 2 to 3 times what employees did, but we were way more productive in a short period of time. We would basically write the code and do everything, and the employees would take it over and do the maintenance, which losing weight is difficult, maintaining it is still difficult, but easier than losing it. Same with code. If you write a shitload of code and produce, it's much easier to maintain that code and make small changes down the road. So they would bring the hired guns in, we'd create the project, and then turn it over to the employees who were just doing enough to stay hired and keep their job security, their safety. They're so afraid of being without a job, they would accept $30,000 a year, and the consultants were all making, 6 figures or close to it, 75, 90, or 100, 120, 150,000 a year, depending upon the contractor. So that's that. Once again, he keeps wanting to talk about corporate America. Okay, I'll talk about when I worked in corporate America. And I did not seek out the safety, quote unquote, the comfort of the 30,000. I knew I was better than that. Most of the employees who accepted that were better than that. But the difference between me and them is I refused to accept 30,000 or 50,000 a year when I knew I could make 100,000 a year, simply by calling myself a contractor or consultant. Now, when you got hired for 6 figures, you better fucking come in and produce. You better kick ass and take names. If you're a slacker just looking to get by, that's not going to work when they're paying you $50 an hour. So, get it done, which I did. But the reward for that is making 2 to 3 times as much as the people sitting in the cube next to you, who have the safety of being an employee and always having employment. There is that. Y'all have a good one.